Admiral Vexithara watched through the crystalline viewport of her flagship as 10,000 warships cast shadows across Earth's blue marble surface. The hegemony's greatest armada had assembled, ships from 47 different species, each vessel bristling with weapons that could crack planets. Yet the silence from the small blue world below was deafening. Still no response to our ultimatum? Vexithara's forearms gestured impatiently at her communications officer. None, Admiral. No transmissions, no military mobilization, no evacuation attempts. It's as if they're ignoring us entirely. The Zephyrian Admiral's scales rippled with confusion. In 3 centuries of conquest, no species had ever remained silent when faced with the full might of the galactic hegemony. They pleaded, they threatened, they begged for mercy, or they launched desperate final attacks. But silence? Never silence. Perhaps their primitive technology cannot detect us, suggested Commander Kriltox, his insectoid mandibles clicking nervously. Impossible. Our scouts confirmed they possess faster-than-light communication and orbital sensors. They know we're here. Vexithara studied the tactical displays showing Earth's major population centers. No movement, no panic, no military response. Just ordinary life continuing as if 10,000 alien warships weren't hanging over their heads like a sword of Damocles. The humans had appeared on the galactic stage only 2 decades ago, emerging from their isolated system with crude but functional FTL drives. They'd established a few trading posts, sent diplomatic missions to various species, and generally kept to themselves. Unremarkable, soft-looking bipeds with no apparent military might or territorial ambitions. The hegemony had classified them as minimal threat, easy integration targets. Now, with hegemony expansion reaching their sector, it was time to bring them into the fold, voluntarily or otherwise. Admiral, the sensor operator called out, her crystalline form chiming with urgency. We're detecting a single ship approaching from Earth's moon. Vexithara's head snapped toward the tactical display. One ship. A small angular vessel with none of the elegant curves or intimidating bulk of proper warships. It looked more like an industrial hauler than a military craft. One ship, she repeated, her translator carrying both amusement and disbelief. Against 10,000. The human vessel took position directly between the Armada and Earth, like a single grain of sand attempting to stop an avalanche. It made no aggressive moves, launched no weapons, sent no hails. It simply waited. Are they surrendering? Asked Kriltox. No surrender signals. They're just sitting there. Hours passed. The human ship maintained its vigil while the massive armada held formation. Vexithara found herself increasingly agitated by the situation's absurdity. Her officers whispered among themselves, some suggesting the humans had gone mad with fear, others wondering if this was some unknown tactical doctrine. Finally, a transmission arrived, not from the lone ship but from Earth's surface. The signal was simple, audio only, and came from what appeared to be an elderly human male sitting in a modest office. Greetings. I'm Secretary General Chen of the United Earth Government. I apologize for the delay in responding to your visit. We've been quite busy discussing your ultimatum. Vexithara activated her communicator. Human, you face the assembled might of 47 species. Surrender now and your integration into the hegemony will be peaceful. Chen smiled, an expression that somehow didn't reach his eyes. Admiral, we appreciate your offer, but we must respectfully decline. You cannot seriously believe that one ship can stand against our armada. Oh, that's not one of our warships, Admiral. That's a research vessel. The crew volunteered for this assignment. Research vessel. Vexithara felt her scales tighten. Then you admit defeat? Not quite. Chen leaned forward slightly. You see, Admiral, we've had 20 years to observe galactic civilization. We've studied your species, your technologies, your military doctrines. We've learned a great deal. And what could you possibly have learned that would help you now? That you've never encountered anything like us. The transmission cut off. Moments later, every sensor across the Armada began screaming warnings. The single human research ship was changing. Its hull plates shifted and reconfigured, revealing surfaces that hurt to look at directly. Space around the vessel began to twist and bend in ways that violated several fundamental laws of physics. What are they doing? Kriltox's mandibles chattered in fear. Unknown technology detected. The sensor operator chimed in panic. Energy readings are impossible. The ship is somehow drawing power from vacuum itself. Vexathara watched in growing horror as reality warped around the human vessel. Her scientists had always been confident that the universe operated under fixed rules. Matter, energy, space, and time followed predictable patterns. But the humans seemed to be casually rewriting those patterns as if they were mere suggestions. "Admiral?" Her communications officer's voice cracked. "We're receiving a new transmission. It's being broadcast directly into our minds." The voice that filled the bridge belonged to a young human female, calm and matter-of-fact. "This is Dr. Sarah Chen, pilot of the research vessel Prometheus. Before you ask, yes, I'm the Secretary General's granddaughter. And yes, we expected you'd ignore a peaceful warning." "Impossible," Vexathara whispered. "Telepathic communication requires specific neural architectures." "We're not telepathic," Dr. Chen interrupted, somehow hearing her thoughts. "We're using a different approach. You see, Admiral, while your species spent millennia perfecting the art of conquest, we spent our time asking a different question. What if the universe isn't what we think it is?" The research ship completed its transformation. Where once a simple vessel had floated, something indescribable now existed. A writhing knot of folded space-time that served as an anchor point for forces that should not have been able to exist in this reality. 20 years ago, we discovered that consciousness isn't produced by the brain, Dr. Chen continued. It's the other way around. Consciousness shapes reality, and sufficient collective will can rewrite the fundamental constants of physics. You never learned this because you never needed to. You had overwhelming force. We still have overwhelming force, Vexathara snarled, though her voice carried less certainty than before. Do you? Admiral, you're facing a species that, when truly threatened, can collectively decide that your weapons simply won't work, that your ships can't move, that the vacuum of space will carry sound just because we find the silence unsettling. As if to demonstrate, klaxons throughout the armada began wailing as impossible acoustic waves propagated through the void. This is your choice, Admiral, Dr. Chen said, her voice now carrying the weight of 7 billion human minds behind it. Leave peacefully and remember that some species are better left undisturbed. Or stay, and learn why humans have never needed vast armadas. Vexathara looked at her tactical displays, watching reality bend and twist around the single research vessel. Her 10,000 ships, so mighty just hours ago, suddenly seemed very small and fragile. For the first time in 3 centuries of conquest, the galactic hegemony chose retreat. The armada departed in silence, leaving behind a single research ship and a species that had answered overwhelming force with the quiet confidence that the universe itself would bend to their collective will. On Earth, Secretary General Chen poured himself tea and smiled. Sometimes the best weapon was simply refusing to accept that you were outgunned.